we want to also hark back into last week and see what was happening, especially with Jubilee Party county board elections here in Nairobi and elsewhere in the country. Let's take a look and then we'll discuss that a bit.
Mimi niko na gavana tukilisi. Nyeseti. Kaambia hata jamhuri kuna bodyguard zake. Sio kondani.
Kwa nini unaniambia gari yake ilikuwa?
Wewe shukaenda.
Ngoja. Kwa nini unaniambia gari yako
Gari baki hapo. Wewe shukaenda.
Mimi nitaenda huko nikipewa amri na bwana kutoka kwa chama. Unaniambia niende wapi sasa?
Amri gani?
Ni wapi unaniambia niende?
Nani?
Nauliza ni wapi unaniambia?
Unataka chama na kukujia?
Nauliza, yes, chama akija ataniambia. Wewe unataka niende wapi? Kwani wewe unaniambia kama nita? Wewe unaniambia niende wapi? I don't take commands from you.
Haya, wacha chama.
Wacha, I don't take commands from you. Why are you telling me to go there?
If you called me here.
No, but why are you telling me to go there?
If you called me here.
All damages to property caused by goons brought in by aspirants will be billed to aspirants, and they have to pay off before participating in any further party activity. There was an incident at Bomas of Kenya, and there was another incident at Murang'a TTC yesterday. Any interim official who is not ready to get directives from the party headquarters is with immediate effect stopped from being in those interim positions. And in particular, I'll mention some names: Simon Kamau from Murang'a County, Samuel Macharia from Murang'a County, and Eric Murithi Muchina from Kirinyaga County.
All right, so the probing question is, do we think the governor also is above the law, that he cannot take any direction or directive from the police? And of course, we want to see and hear also from our panelists. First of all, we begin with you, Honorable Alice Ohome. This was happening also in your own turf as well. We can see the governor saying this. Do you think he's above the law?
It's unfortunate, Dibal, and actually Kenyans must reject leaders that come to positions using violence. In Murang'a, we had very unfortunate incidents, as you can see from the reports there, that as majority of the aspirants, over 300 aspirants, spent time, their resources, and before the day of nomination, that is Saturday, had even met and tried to build consensus so that as we come to pick the elections board, 9 members of the elections board, so that then we do not have to conflict and bring this kind of chaos.
Do you think from your
estimation? The chaos,
yes,
from my very humble observation, because I was present, was brought in by the current governor, His Excellency the Governor of Murang'a County. And this is not the first time. He has been associated with a lot of violence, coming in and rejecting, failing to adhere to police instructions.
All right, don't think, yes, we're winding up very briefly, because this is very consternating from what is really coming also from the Secretary General. He thinks this was not a big deal.
No, he doesn't say he thinks it's not a big deal.
No, he said, of course, from the news sources we have, he says this was not a big deal. He says, I know political processes in Homa Bay and Migori counties where people have died, all right? And the question is, are we waiting for people to lose their lives so that this particular fracas can be a big deal? Because
that was on the ground. You know, when people have to be disbursed through tear gas, when people have thrown fists at each other, I think the slightest sign of violence must be taken seriously by the party and by the managers of the processes of coming up with the elections board, because this is the beginning of the primaries problems. So where Kenyans will be presented with people who are not popular, because if you have a board that is biased, that is skewed towards one side, then you are not going to get the right nominees. So therefore, I think the Honorable Tuju, who is now the Secretary General, took the matter of Murang'a seriously, because he has dismissed 2 people who, you know, who actually were officials of the party. You know, the party at the grassroots, the county officials, are also supposed to be involved in the process. And they seemed to be, in Murang'a, part of the problem because they were trying to block and saying they are the ones who should manage. We have a National Elections Board, and it is the one mandated to do the elections elsewhere. So, it's a big deal for me. It's a big deal.
This is already setting a precedent also for the other parties, for ANC and Wiper Party as well, ODM. And so let's hear from Honorable Kirwa briefly before we wind up. All this particular development, what happened at Bomas of Kenya, him saying it's not really a big deal until he knows of people who have died in Homa Bay. So that should actually surmount to being a big deal if we lose lives.
Yeah, thank you, Dibal. I think we should condemn any form of violence, whether it is perpetrated by the ruling coalition or any other political entity for that matter. And the main worry that I have today is, are we building momentum for us to have a very violent election? It is important that we need to sober up. And this is what I said before. The foundation of all these political entities are hinged on tribal agenda. And that is where we went wrong at the beginning of time. Even the land buying companies, we allowed that if it is if it is Luos, although they didn't buy much of the land, they go as a group and they buy exclusively as Luos. What we should have done is to say you cannot buy everything as one community. So when you go to counties like mine, we have conclaves of tribal kind of cocoons. And when these parties, like the most interesting was when we had URP and TNA. Any Kikuyu farm or TNA. Any Kalenjin farm, URP. Then the rest of us fell in between. And that's why there is this stigmatization that people would expect me now to be in Jubilee. And Alice would actually say that. Or they would expect him to be in ODM. So these are some of the issues that fundamentally as a nation, we need to bring back the nation of Kenya.
Thank you.
We have lost it.
Farah Maalim, just to hear also from Wiper briefly, because we have Jomvu, the Jomvu MP, Badi Twalib. He has officially resigned from Wiper. Having paid 200,000 shillings for nomination fees, yet he is accusing the Secretary General, or Hassan Omar, of planting a candidate to vie against him. Are you privy to this information?
I just heard it. I'm not privy to the total details. I got wind of it yesterday, I think day before yesterday. We still have further discussions on this, but he has already gone to a friendly party, so he's actually shifted to ODM, which is in the Quad coalition, so we're not worried about it.
You're not worried about it?
No, we'd be worried if he had gone to Jubilee.
But is there unfair treatment ongoing inside Wiper Party as well?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, you have to get the full details of that thing. Who is the person he has planted against him, and what are the details, what's the information? I'm not privy to the information. I must be very honest with you on that.
All right. Let's hear from Prof. You're winding shorts.
I think it balances. It balances because Farah went to Wiper. And now he's come. It's just a balance. So
that is an issue for another day about...
Farah is right.
Farah as well.
Right. It's friendly fire.
But anyway, it's within the family, so
but coming back to this violence, I think Jubilee's mistake is that they don't have elected party officials at the grassroots. Everybody is interim. Now that's very dangerous. That's why as the ODM we made sure that we had party elections very early so that these wars are fought very early. You see, and party officials who are elected have the mandate to determine the elections board on behalf of the party. Because the party constitution says so. But I think Jubilee is going to have a lot of problems because all these interim people are handpicked. They don't have the mandate of the people.
Thank you. Right, very briefly as we're winding up.
The bottom line, the problem is impunity. And it's impunity in what we call the parties. Whether it's Wiper, you know, the Secretary General, we are told is going to run as governor, and Honorable Aweti is being told, no, you can't, you have to be deputy or something. But it's not only them. And the issue of violence concerns me because, again, we've seen people die. Maybe many more will die. But these parties say we are not this time going to tolerate violence. But it's better said but not implemented. We haven't seen action.
Honorable Home, briefly, 30 seconds. We're winding up.
I think people must sober up as we go towards elections. We must condemn any form of violence, and we must appeal to all of us and our supporters that we must condemn, we must actually ensure that Kenyans don't hurt each other during this particular period. It doesn't matter who you are, and I think all of us should adhere to the regulations, the rules by the parties, including the rules that
Thank you.
will be set up by the IEBC.
Thank you. I really do appreciate your participation this morning. Very insightful. Of course, we cannot exhaustively talk about this here on this forum. We shall continue with this next week and other developments here on This Is a Point. Thank you very much for your valued company as well. Kobe Kiara, she's up next.